Hey guys, how's everybody tonight? Doing wonderful here. It's a little chilly outside, but it's quite nice. But we've been given a lot of time here lately, with things going on out in society like they are, to really think about ourselves and really connect with ourselves, and then think about the people outside of us, which actually is what makes us think more about ourselves, and the things that we do in life, and the way that we are, and the little quirks and things that we have. And a lot of us, I've noticed, me personally, spend a lot of time beating myself up, trying to be an example. I'm a mom to 5 children, and I had to stop and go back and look at where this all began. Here I am, I'm 50 years old, and I never thought that I would be where I am now. It wasn't the dream, it wasn't the thought, never desired to be here, well, until recent years. But when I was a kid, I had this vision of all these things. I come from a home where my mama and daddy they were both loving parents, but it was the 70s and they were busy. And I remember always going out, and I was always searching for love, someone to love me, who can love me. I never found it within me, so I was always looking outside, but I didn't have the parents that said, hey, you gotta love yourself. I had the parents that said, hey, here's a key and let yourself in when you get home. Don't forget, make sure you feed you and your brother and get in bed by 10. We'll be home shortly thereafter. Yeah, that was the life. Now, like I said, here I am 50 years old, and I'm looking back on my life, and oh my goodness, it seems like I've lived like multiple lives in one life, which I know that we all have and all are. But wow, it's really, if we look back and then we try to unravel things as things have happened in our lives, and we really question, why did that happen? Robbie, the oldest child, the whole reason that I even started to really step forth and talk to people, and it's really going to be hard for me to say this, but I was under this guise that all these things had happened and all these reasons that he had left the earth and moved to a different plane and all of these things. But I really have to come down to the simple fact that there's some things that we just can't heal, that it has to be done on their own. And sometimes people just can't seem to understand, and they can't seem to get a grip on what's going on around them, and they choose to leave. What's hard to deal with that is it's hard to face the fact that is actually the point, that they chose to leave prior to ever being here, and that's a whole nother conversation. But going back and I look at these pivotal moments that have changed my life. We went from that into being on an off-grid little farm and trying to survive that way, which was rather difficult, to be quite honest. Kudos to all those who can do it and keep doing it. We plan on trying again, but we've learned a lot. But it's about going back and looking at those things and then seeing where we are now and how all of these little events have played out to create the life that we're in right now. Even without the knowing that this is the life for us, we're here. And to me, that is just really rather amazing. I look back at my younger years. I wasn't raised in a home that, had very hard times that I was aware of. I was under the impression I was a real rich girl and I had everything we needed. But when I actually, now that I'm older and my mother is no longer just my mom, but my mom is my friend, and I've gotten a chance to really see, and through my own eyes and my own experience, what she went through. Keeping food on the table and balancing the bills and dealing with my father, who wasn't very nice to her at that time, at least to my eyes. But then I even find out that was even different. It was a total lack of communication. So I guess I'm just talking to you guys on a general day-to-day thing. But when we look at these little tiny things that are happening in our lives, and we go back and we look at what we're going through now, they really do relate. And we can take these little happenings in our past, and by the way, forgiving them if they're hurting us when they come up and when we remember them. I remember an instance that it was really a defining moment in my childhood, and it was really hard because I grew up with parents who told me, you don't drink, you don't do this. My mother smoked cigarettes. You don't do this way, and you judge people this way. And I remember a moment in the kitchen where my mother and my father were arguing so bad, and I had not seen this before. And I saw my mother melt. And at that moment, it showed me that in order to make a relationship work, you have to melt. Well, ladies, we all know that really doesn't work. That is another one of those energies that work in the sorrow and that pain, and it keeps you kind of down there. And I know how hard it is to get out of it. I was married to an abusive man for many years, teeth knocked out, head through the toilet, thrown from moving cars, and I thought that I had to be in that situation in order to have a life. I thought that at 21 years old that was the end for me. I had already had a son. I had already, the situation with that in my teenage years, and then I had moved into this adult and just jumped in this relationship where I was never happy, never connected, and the weight just went on. It was just miserable, but I gained my daughter out of it, so there was that great blessing that came out of it, on top of going through so much abuse. Not only seeing it, what my mother went through, and then what I went through, I had to learn how to break that cycle. And then I also gained enough strength to teach my daughters to be very strong, authentic women. But of course, they each had to go down their own path too. They didn't just live by my example. They had to experience their own trials and tribulations to come to their own knowing of this. So, like I said, I had no idea what I was going to come on and speak to you about today. I just know there's been a lot of energy around our strength and grabbing and coming back to our authentic selves and seeing who we are and where we come from. And, these many people that pass through our lives. My beloved grandmother, I remember holding her as she passed, and just these eyes and this peace. And she told me, she said, there's no fear. So I guess the message today is there's no fear. That we look back at all these things that we've gone through and that we've experienced that hurt us so deeply in those moments, that they're not here today. They're only a part of our memory. And it's our choice whether to allow that memory to hurt us or to uplift us and rise us up and make us stronger and create us to be those wonderful souls that we are here to be. Those wonderful souls that are not only here just to be a bright, shining light, but an anchor of wisdom and love for more to be able to come to their own truth. So I'm going to close for now. I send you much, much love, many blessings, and maybe we'll have to do this again sometime. If any of you have any feedback or anything that maybe we could chit-chat about, that, or maybe we could bring some light to, please send me an email, send me a text. I can always be reached at thehighervibetribe.com or thehighervibestribe@gmail.com. So, anyway, sending very much love to you. Peace, light, namaste.
Hi, this is Tamara. I just had to take a moment to say thank you so very much for spending time here with us, and wish you many blessings and namaste.